Right, hello guys, and welcome to This is Feudal, you're on. Now, this is very early alpha, so you will see bugs along the way, but what I'm going to be doing is taking you through what I've learned so far and how I went about doing things, and hopefully it'll help you out. I streamed this for 12 hours, and during those 12 hours got lots and lots of questions, and lots of the people were hitting on the same things over and over again. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to put it on a video, stick it on YouTube, and then it helps a few more people out, because I've had to learn all this myself. Right, so let's go over first of all your buttons. Right, if you press Q, it'll basically do the same as what right clicking does. It'll bring up your context menu. If you press Tab, you will go into what I call free mouse mode, where you can move around with the mouse key. Tab again, and it'll take you back to the look mode. Right. Your inventory, which is I. P brings up your player. T brings up your paper doll for your equipment. Map is M. And L is your skills book. Right. So let's go into the paper doll first. Quite simple. That's your equipment slots, your shoulders, or on your back, on your shoulders, should I say, and these are on your waist, attached to your waist, and then your normal slots there. Your Here we go. You've got your stats here, so you've got your normal stats that you would think about in an MMO. Your hunger, your food multiplier. So if you eat better food, that'll go up, and it'll take longer for you get hungry, stuff like that. You also get bonuses. Right, your stats cap is 150. So once you reach 150, that's it. You can't go any further. Right. One important thing is these little arrows. Right. If it's a green arrow pointing up, that skill will increase. If it's a red arrow pointing down, that skill will decrease. Right? If it's locked, it won't budge. Now, what will happen is, if you want to go, for instance, two-handed weapons, right, and you want massive amounts of strength, but you're not really bothered about intellect, what you can do is you can either lock that off, right, and have that on, or you could have that degrading, so those points will then go on here, but you'd have to lock off all of these for it to go up there. And that's what it's for. I'll explain more when I come through to this. Right. Inventory, self-explanatory. This is your window where everything goes. Plain and simple. Right. Now on to the most important part, and also the most difficult part of it. Right. Your skills. These are the skills that you'll start off with. Right. So you've got prospecting, forestry, nature's law, terraforming, farming, and fishing and hunting. Now, to get through to the next one in the skill tree, you have to get to level 60 in the first one. So for prospecting, right, you will have to do what it says. Anything to do with prospecting will get you in a skill increase. As you see at the moment, I'm at 7, right? So to get level 30, obviously you've got to carry on doing prospecting, and then it'll say can prospect for iron, increase prospecting range. So that's what unlocks at 30. At 60, silver, right, an increased range. 90, and then 100. But once you get to 60, it'll end up open mining, right? So it'll open your mining for you, and then the same again all the way up to 60, and then it'll open smelting. Same again. Now what you want to be doing is, because you've only got 602 points to allow you to get anything, you cannot possibly get all of these full, right? So you can't specialize in anything. If you're going to go that route and you're going to go for everything, you're not going to be able to specialize in anything. I think the most you'll get is to about here, so you'll miss out on some of the best stuff. So what you want to do is you want to specialize in a certain thing, or certain things should I say. So say for instance you wanted to be a farmer, right? So you basically carry on along this line. However, you might want gathering as well, because gathering goes hand in hand with the farming. However, you're not interested in this one, fishing and hunting, so you'll lock that off. That won't increase whatsoever, right? And then you're not interested in prospecting, so you lock that off. That won't increase. And then you think, I am interested in this, forestry, but only to the point where I can cut down logs and I can make stuff, right? So as you can see here, level 0 at carpentry, I can make logs. So that means I'd have to get level 60 in this, level 60 in this, and then that would unlock that. So once I've got 60 in this, lock it off. Once I've got 60 in this, lock it off. Once I've got level 0 in this, lock it off. Then I'm able to make planks. And then with the gathering, you follow it all the way through and it gets to alchemy. And same with this, you get all the way through and you get to architecture, and this, you get to tailoring. If you have a skill you want to change at a later date, so say I've got everything maxed out, I'm not then at my 602 skill cap, right? I've got prospecting all the way up, but I don't want to do armor smithing anymore. I want to change that to alchemy, but I have no points in alchemy. So what you do is you go back to here and you start using your nature's law skill, right? And you change this to the down arrow, and what will happen is, if all these are changed to the down arrow, it'll start taking skill points away from all of these and putting them in there, and then that will eventually reduce down to 0 and all your points will go into here. And that's how the arrows work, and that's how you can change around your skills when you want. Alright, so you're not setting a specific role. The only thing is, if you do change it, you will have to put in the time and effort to get those skills built back up. Okay? Right. So, now that's done, we'll now move on to the start and what you do at the beginning and what you're looking for. So I will be right back, guys. I want to relaunch my map because there's a couple of things I want to change, because obviously this is going to be my single player map. However, I don't want to keep on changing my skills about, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the skill cap to the maximum so I can basically get all of these. So I'll be right back. Right, guys, so one thing I forgot to tell you, on this map, if you are on this map, one of the best places to settle is around this area here, because you've got everything you need within that little area. Really good area. You've got this big mountain here where you can go prospecting and stuff like that. You've got loads of clay around here. You've got the lake to go fishing in, and normally there's some animals around there as well. So that's where I'll be setting up. for this. The other thing I forgot to tell you, on your skills book, it tells you what each of the different levels gives you. And it'll also tell you what's not implemented yet in the game. So my advice to you is, once you get to level 60 and you can see level 90 is not implemented, just lock that skill off, because you're not going to get anything benefit from anything taking it any higher. So as I can see, terraforming level 90 is not implemented. So once I get to 60, I'm at 52 already. Once I get to 60, I'll lock it off, and there's no need wasting any points on it. So your first steps, what you're going to be doing first of all. Right, first thing you want to do is, if you press C, you'll go into third person. I prefer this mode. Right, now if you walk up to the grass, you look at the grass, you click right button on the ground, you'll see a green square come up, and then your context menu. Right, now if you go down to nature's law, you'll see gather plant fiber. If you right click on that, it sets it as the default option. So when you left click on the ground, it'll carry out that option there. Now this is good to do, right, if you're going to do something often. Like for instance, if you know that you're going to be chopping down 30 trees in a row, you'll go to forestry and you'll go to chop down tree, and right click on that and set it as your default option, and then you don't have to keep on going into the context menu. It makes things so much smoother. Right, so I'm going to be gathering plant fiber, so I've made that my default option. Just left click, and as you see, he starts to punch grass. And then if you look in the system menu, you'll see you have failed to find anything. Right, so I didn't find anything there, so I'll move on and I'll try somewhere else. Right, so I got one plant fiber, and as you see there, your nature law skill has increased by 1.37 to 1637, and I failed to find anything. And it also say your willpower is increased by such and such. And the reason that my willpower is increased, if we go to nature law, you will see primary is intellect, secondary is willpower. So it'll increase one of those skills. And what I'll do is I'll carry on going collecting this until I've got about 20. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to come up to a tree. You want to right click on the tree, go to forestry, snap branch. Right click on that, set it as your default, and then left click. You'll go through the action, and as you see, you have received one branch, as it says down here. Your forestry is increased to 45, and your constitution has increased, and your willpower has increased. And then left click again, and it automatically carries out that default action. So I'll collect another branch. Right, and I'll carry on doing this now until I've got around about 15 branches. Then the next step will be flint. Gathering some flint. And what you're looking for, if I can find any, is a rocky outcrop on the ground. And hopefully there should be some around here. These little rocks on the ground are just for decoration. They don't actually do anything. Right, so that mountain's just up here. we'll head towards the mountain and I'll show you the collecting of the flint. Going through the swamp. As you see, that's swampland to the right of me there. Also, while you're running around, see if you can spot an apple tree. Right, and collect the apples off the tree and collect a couple of saplings. You won't regret it, because apples are really good food to start off with. They'll keep you nice and fed, and also you can plant the saplings at a later date once you have skilled up some of your abilities. Right, so I can see just in front of me there's a little rocky outcrop. And that brown stuff there is not dirt, that's clay. It's really light coloured brown. Right, so if I come up to this rocky outcrop and I right click on it, and then I go to prospecting, you can see I can prospect for copper, sling ammo, or search for useful flintstone. And that's what I want to be doing. I want to be searching for useful flintstone. And yet again, I've got one flintstone, and you can see there's a skill increase there. So set that as my default action by right clicking on it again, and search again. And I'll do this until I've got round about 15 of these as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collect all the stuff that I need to collect, and I'll be right back, guys, with what to do next. Alright? Right, guys, so I'm back. I have collected the stuff I need to collect, and I'm also in the area that I said I'd settle, which is just there in front of me. And right here, as you see, we've got an apple tree. You can tell because it's got apples growing on it. Now, if you go up to the tree, go to forestry, and inspect the tree, not only will it increase your forestry skill, but it'll also tell you, you see a major apple tree, you estimate its quality at 96. It's been chopped down 0%. It contains the following useful resources: 10 bark, 20 branches, 50 apples, 2 apple tree sprouts. So you know that you're going to be able to get apples from this. So if you go to farming and gather apples, right, I got 1 apple. But my farming is really, really low, so I'm not expecting to get a lot. But as you go through it, your skill will increase and you'll get more apples. See, I got 2 because my skill had increased a little bit. So if I set that to my default, three apples. So I'm getting more as my farming skill increases. I'll just collect a couple more, and then we've got some food then, and we've got something to last us that little bit. Right, so as you can see, sometimes some things don't stack. You just drag them onto each other and then they'll stack up nicely. So we've got a decent amount of apples now. I'll put them with them. Right, so this is the area that I chose to settle in, and the reason is because it's a nice area. It's right next to the lake, and not only that, if I go to terraforming and observe, you can see it's pretty much flat as it is. You don't have to do that much work to it. That's why I chose this area. Right, so to start off with, you need to craft your basic tools. So if you right click on your sticks and create primitive tools, you get a little drop down menu with all the primitive tools that you can craft. Right, and you want to start off with the ones that you're going to be using first. So a shovel, and then all you do is just press craft, and away it goes. And what the shovel will do is it'll pop up in your inventory here. Then we need an axe. A pickaxe. And a saw. And those are your basic tools that you're going to need to get started. And where is it? Later on you'll need a sickle, the hammer, fishing pole as well is good for food, and a cooking pot. So we'll get a fishing rod. Because then I can show you the fishing and the cooking. And primitive cooking pot. Ah, we need rock for that, so we'll have to wait for that one. Let's get a sickle while we're here, shall we? Like I say, those figures that I give you should give you enough to get the basics. As you see, you need stone for the hammer, primitive knife you can make, and there we go, good, we're golden. Now, me collecting that stuff increased my forestry to 64, and as you see, I can now plant certain trees. I'm not interested in this bit, the level 90 stuff, not yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock that off there. And that means that no points will be wasted on that item. It's not going to affect this one, only that. My nature law also increased to 40. Right? At 60, it'll unlock this gathering. And prospecting went up, but I'm not really interested in the prospecting. As you see, I've marked that to go down. Right, the apples give us farming skill, so we've increased a little bit in that. Right, so what we need to do is we need to equip the different items. We are going to need our shovel and our pickaxe first. Right, now if you look at this skill, Terraforming, you can see I'm 52 out of 60. Right, at level 60 I can dig tunnels. Level 90 I'm not implemented, so once I reach 60 I'm going to lock that off. I don't need it to go any further because at level 90 there's nothing there at the moment. Right, we shall then open up construction material preparation, and that's what we're aiming for, the construction preparation materials, and then construction. So the best way to do this is to basically terraform the land. So if I right click on the land, go to terraform, set observe as my default, and you'll see why. Right, so if I press the observe button, you will see that there's loads of numbers, and what I'm looking at is this area here. See where it says 5601? What I'm going to do is I'm going to move all these numbers to 5601. So I'll move to this square here, press escape, terraforming, low ground level, because it was 5701. And you'll see my skills increased to 53. So that's done. That's done, that's done. So the next square is this one. There we go. Job done. So now we've got these squares here that are all done nicely. And what you need is, for your first shack, you need a 3x4 pattern, or 3x4 flat area, should I say. So if we go over to this area here, and we lower this one, and this needed to come down too, so we'll move it down that too. And what will happen is your inventory will fill up with soil, and you'll become overburdened at some point. And then what you can do is just take that soil to a lower area. So for instance here where it's 5.5, and you can raise the land there and it'll take some of the stuff away. So our next one is here where we need to take away one level. And for some reason it's gone really foggy. The weather. Right. So now we're at 57. If I look at my thing, you will see we've got 5601 down here. All this is 5601. That's the perfect size for a house. We've got basically the two blocks here, or the 2x6 area that the house will sit on itself, and then you've got one spare, or one slot either side where the posts sit. So that's our terraforming done for our house. Now we've got to level the land off. So if we go to terraforming and flatten ground, and no, I want observe as my primary still, and you'll see why. And I go to observe, you'll see it's gone a sort of greeny colour. It's got a green outline around it, and that's what you want. That lets you know that that area is flat. So next area, you can't flatten the ground while you stood on it, so don't even try and do that because it'll just waste your time. And if you're stood on an area that's 5701 and you want to level it off at 5601, what it'll try and do, it'll try and level it off at that level that you're stood on. As you see, I've got loads of dirt in my inventory from raising and lowering the leveling. So we'll get this flattened off. As soon as my skill hits 60, which should be this one, I'm going to cut it off there so it doesn't level up anymore. Ooh, nearly. Very close. Right, so turn around and I can do that one then. So I'll get this done and I'll be back when it's all terraformed and ready to rock and roll. So I've done that, as you see. Got my nice little square area, terraformed, flat, nicely done. And I got rid of my dirt by increasing some of these areas here and moving them up closer to 5601. Right, so that's done. Now we've got our area for our house. What we want to be doing now is we've got the skills. As you will see, I locked that off at 60, and when we hit 60 it opened up. If we go to terraforming, dig tunnel down, dig tunnel upwards. Right, so we got the new options, right, and those are really important for what we're going to do. But the next one, which we need the axe for, we don't need this, so we can unequip it. And where's our axe? We're going to go and cut down some trees. Now if you have a look at your forestry skill, see mine's locked off at 64, only because I forgot to lock it off at 60. As you can see, I can plant trees at that. I'm not really bothered about planting hardwood trees at the moment, but what I'm interested in is this logging, right? And the best way to increase your logging is either cutting down trees or collecting bark, right? That's what we need. This is the one that we need, so we need to get this from 0 up to 60, level 60, right? Level 90 and the level 100 is entirely up to you whether you want to specialize in anything to do with logging, right? Me myself, I'm only going to 60, just basically so I can unlock this at level 0, because that's when you can turn your logs into planks and building logs, right? And then you can go on further as well. Level 30 you can start make wooden furniture, you can make wooden weapon parts at level 60, make big furniture at level 90, and make decorated items at level 100. So that's entirely up to you. Right, so that's what we're going to go and do now. As you see, I've now got that in the down arrow, so that reduces. I've got that locked off, that locked off. So I'm not going to waste any skill points. Right, so we can only cut down softwood trees. So how do we know which are which? Well, if you go up to it and inspect it, you'll be able to find out what kind of tree it is, and then you know what sort of wood it is. So we've got a major pine. Right, as you see, it's not being chopped down or anything. So to get our skill up, we can either get a sprout, inspect the tree, because as you see, inspecting the tree actually gives you in fact, that doesn't give you skill. That is this one in forestry. What we want is logging. So what you got to do is go to logging, and you can either cut it down, you may need to hit it once or twice, depending on how big the tree is. And when this tree decides to fall, which it isn't, but it doesn't matter because our skill's going up. We're now at 26. There we go. And what you can do is you can lift up the log and take it to your area, drop it off, and just stack them up there and wait for this skill to increase to the point where you can refine logs. So this is good right here. Left click and you'll get this option here. Just close off all of this because I don't need, in fact I can't. And click place and it'll place it down. Job done. Now, what I was saying, if you go up to a tree, say one of these smaller ones, and get back, you'll see that the skill will increase, but it doesn't increase as much as what it does when you're cutting down trees. And you can even set that to default so you can just sit there and you can just pull back off trees until your skill goes up. As you see, I'm at 34. I was at 33, so it's gone up nearly 2 points. And before you know it, you're at that level 60 and you've unlocked your next. See, there's nothing left to gather on that tree. So on to the next one. And just do this until you're level 60. See, I'm 39 already. What I'll be doing is I'll be back when I'm level 60 and we're ready to progress onto the next stage.